Welcome back to the Upper Tier Podcast, the football podcast we bring you each and every week on the Dynamo Podcast Network. Head over to YouTube, smash that subscribe and bell notification button. Also, if you want audio versions of our show, they're available on Anchor, if that is your preference. And also, if you want to make contact with the show, we're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, the Upper Tier. Lads, welcome to our Monday mashup show. Lots to get through. Headlines all over the place. The ESL seems like a distant memory at this stage. Wayne, how you doing? Happy?
Yeah, delighted. How are you, not?
Yeah, not too bad at all. Always good picking up the Pepsi Challenge Cup anyway. Mark, how are you doing?
How's it going, lads? Thanks for having me on again.
Good, not a bother. Dean, how are we doing?
Great to see you all. Hey, yes.
Craig, for the second time today, how you doing, my man?
Yeah, not too bad. No, since we're unfortunately focusing back on reality of the Premier League, so
that's it.
All right.
Yeah, making his return.
You had a Barcelona jersey on you earlier on. Now you have a PSG, man.
That's the beauty. That's the beauty of being sponsored by FIFA, isn't it?
Oh,
making his return to the show, Anthony. How you doing, my man?
What's the crack, lads?
That's a sweet T-shirt from my buddy Peter Hart. There's a period comic show. Shout out to Peter Hart.
Bad.
Also on tonight, not looking too happy at all, looking a little bit glum, representing St. Patrick's Athletic. Shout out. And if you're a St. Pat's fan, check out this week. We will be dropping an episode with the great Paulo Sam. Make sure you check that out. Graham, welcome back to the show.
Thanks.
Good to have you on. Right, let's start. Let's get into this. Wayne, Carabao Cup final. Man City celebrating like they just won the Champions League. How would you think?
Look, man, we were only playing Spurs, so there wasn't much of a challenge in the first place. But we did all right. I know, dominated the game. You know, I know. Look, it was the scoreline. The scoreline absolutely flattered Spurs. City had the ball all day. You know, Spurs only really woke up a little bit in the second half. They were diving all over the pitch. The ref had a shocker of a game. Like for both teams, I think would even agree. The ref was absolutely shocking, especially in the first 20 minutes. He made so many bad decisions. But yeah, we went out and we won. Big Emmerich Laporte with the goal. Absolutely delighted. But like I said, it was only Spurs at the end of the day. So
it's hard to believe that Spurs couldn't do what Wigan did, isn't it?
I know. That's what we were saying this earlier. No, I won't with that. The great giants of Wigan even were able to stick it up to us, you know. But the Spurs themselves couldn't come up to the challenge on the day.
Well, I was talking to you yesterday, Wayne, after the game. We were going back and forth on WhatsApp, and I have to say, if ever there was an advertisement for Premier Leagues not to give a damn about the Carabao Cup, that trophy presentation and medal presentation was absolutely shocking.
Absolutely world class, wasn't it? Go over there and pick your medals up, lads, and then let us know when they're finished. Yeah,
lads were just
take the bottles of wine. Will you? Someone take them, will you?
Yeah, they couldn't even give me. Fernandinho handed his one back. He didn't even want it.
It was a bit shocking. They had to run after him with the bottles of champagne. Like, oh, no, just
big bottle of ice there full of Carabao Cup energy drinks, and not one of them took one. Having said that, now City didn't even break a sweat, and Spurs looked dead on their feet. So it was kind of weird.
I mean, Harry Kane didn't, like, I think he got 5 or 6 touches all game. Like,
yeah.
He
wasn't fit.
Yeah.
It looked like he was playing with an injury. To be honest.
Even if he was fit, he still wouldn't have done that in that game. I've never seen a cup final so one-sided in my life.
Yeah. Literally. Now you could almost say City were just missing a strike, and we might have converted some of those 24 chances we got. But you know, that was the one. But
yeah. Well, I would preface that by saying City probably had not just one eye, but 2 eyes on the PSG game, because for City it looked like it was a training routine. For Spurs, it looked like they came out and they had no plan at all. Talking about those 5 touches that Harry Kane had, I'd say most of them were lads picking them up off the turf, were they? I mean, like he absolutely. If there was ever a player who went into a cup final, like a major cup final of the top 3 or top 4 or 5 that clubs can win, I've never seen a player to go in and nearly take 30 million off his valuation. I mean, it was absolutely shocking from him. Shocking. No leadership, nothing.
That was desperation throwing Kane into the starting 11. There was no way he was going to happen. As I said, it was. We talked about the other day. Mason could go out there and play conservative football and try and hold out, try and nick it on the counter. City are so good at. City have something for every game plan and opposition has. Just one thing I wanted to say regarding selections. I was very pissed off that Sergio Aguero didn't get on his last cup final with the club. Well,
it could be his last chance to play at Wembley, man, after all the great things he's done.
Possibly the Champions League final, but to not give him a run out last 5-10 minutes in that game, that's why I have no respect for Pep Guardiola.
Well, I said the exact same thing to Niall. I mean, I was looking at the clock with 87 minutes. I said, would you not just bring Aguero on, man, for stoppage time, for fuck's sake? You know, just bring him on and let him out. And there was 2,000 fans there. When will he ever get, like, he might not get a chance to play in front of the fans again, you know? If this is, you know, these could be his last couple of games. So I agree with you, Dino. He's absolutely ruthless, Pep. No emotions at all came into that at all, you know? Well, it is what it is. Good, man.
Yeah. Let's turn it over to Graham. Graham, give us a reason going forward why we should be interested in Spurs.
You shouldn't. What do I say? Ryan Mason, he was in a difficult situation, being given the job, you know, so soon, especially second match in the cup final against Man City. But what Wayne was saying, like, Man City had all the ball. We hardly had to touch the ball. But when we did, we didn't create anything. It's like the rest of them are lost without if Harry Kane doesn't play. And if you do play Harry Kane, well, when he came back after his injury, he was kind of rushed in, like he wanted to play in the final, and he didn't do anything. He might have got a couple of knocks to his thigh, you know, his legs, but no, we weren't threatening at all. It's another final where we just fall away.
Yeah.
Fall away. I was looking at someone on Twitter posted up that all the cup finals or quarterfinals or semi-finals we've lost in the past 10 years, and there's like 8 of them, and like I think it's like 3 finals, I think 3 or 4 finals we've been in, and like we just haven't showed up. Like, if you're not going to show up, like, you're not going to win it. Like, people keep go
ahead, friend.
Sorry, people keep going on about you know, Spurs haven't won anything in like since 2008, since the last cup final. Like, we're not going to win anything if we don't show up. Like, what's your excuse if, like, we're not going to show up? Like, it's not Ryan Mason's fault. I think it's the players. Like, half of them have to go. They didn't deserve to start.
Well, I suppose if you look at it, I mean, Mark, you might want to take this, but for 83 minutes, you kind of, okay, you had to weather a storm, which is the norm you're going to have with City anyway. You're going to surrender possession and chances and stuff like that. But for 83 minutes, you were fine. And then all of a sudden, this yoke, I can only call him, I don't know how he's getting paid to play football, Sissoko. Mark,
yeah.
Let's Laporte ghost into the box, and put a header away, and he's standing there staring at him.
Looking at him.
Yeah. I thought Laporte was lucky staying the pitch, to be honest with you, because the two wasn't on Lucas Moura. The two, they were identical incidents. To me, they were both yellow cards. If you're going to give for one, you have to give them for the other. And then it just shows he goes on and he gets the winner in the 1-0 win. And like Wayne was saying, I think the only flattering thing was it was only 1-0. I thought he was going to start Lucas Moura up front on his own, or maybe a man, what's his name, Vincius or something like that.
Yeah.
And maybe try put as much pressure on City as he can, and then bring Kane on in the second half. I thought he would have had more of an impact that way. But, you know, he's
not the start. Yeah.
That's the thing. He's inexperienced, though. And Kane was probably in his ear saying, no, I'm fit. We've seen it so many times with players, big players that are injured, that are said they're fit for games, and it turns out they're not. They're just trying to, you know, play through the pain barrier. But fair play to City. They took advantage. What was it, 24 chances he said, when?
25, I think, or something. Only 4 on target. Only 4 or 5 on target.
Yeah, it was very little on target. Yeah.
That's what I was saying about missing the striker, you know. We missed that many.
At times it looked like a training match. Do you know what I mean? In the second half. But fair play to City. Another, what's it, 4 in a row now? Carabao Cup. I heard you were taking pictures with the trophy before the match, with the medals on and everything. That's how confident you were.
We'll see you later.
the medals were left out on a breadboard down Wembley Way for the lads to pick up on the way out. Like, you know what I mean? How the hell's going to want?
They were posted to them a week before.
Throwing them into the crowd to the fans and all that. Hey, one for everyone.
I tell you, it was, looking at it yesterday, Anthony, you might want to take this. It was nice to see fans back in the stadium. I mean, to see all those Spurs fans there and the 10 City fans, I mean, it was fantastic, you know?
Yeah, no, it's definitely positive for football to see them back in, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think there was 2,000 each, was there? And then there was a few allocated to
Locals, yeah.
to frontline workers up the top.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it was a trial, but sure, look, it's looking positive for football to have fans back in maybe at the start of the season. So
yeah,
fingers
absolutely.
crossed.
Hopefully it gets back to where it was. Let's have a quick look at the Premiership. Mark, you might want to take this. Leeds 0, Man United 0. Shambolic.
Yeah, I think we've been saying it the last few weeks. The performances haven't been there at all. You know, Bruno has looked a shell of a man the last probably few weeks or so, say 2 months even. We create a few chances, nothing really clear cut. Bruno had that chance. But yeah, just disappointing. But you know, it's 0-0 and he brings Cavani on with 6 minutes ago. He brings Pogba on with 15 minutes ago. I was expecting these changes to be made before that, even before the hour mark. But obviously he has one eye on Thursday with the Roma game, the semi-final. So I presume Pogba and Cavani are going to start in, because if they aren't, they should have been on a lot sooner than they were yesterday.
Yeah, safe to say, Anthony, as well. Dan James missed a couple of gilt-edged chances yesterday, didn't he?
Did, yeah, absolutely, yeah. He tell you what, he's come into it. What am I trying to say here? He's quickly becoming kind of a fan favorite with me. Anyway, put it that way. He's an absolute powerhouse when it comes to his work ethic. You know what I mean? He likes to have a shot. Obviously, his precision isn't there. You know what I mean? But you can't argue with his work ethic. He's a few more performances like that, and he'll be banging in the goals. I'd say starting maybe more and have a lot more goals than he probably deserves. I'd say
he can be quite frustrating at times, Anthony. Though, could you ever see
absolutely, Mark, yeah.
when he gets to the byline, he hits it across. He doesn't look up. Watch him. He never looks up and looks into the box. He just flings it across, and he either hopes it gets to someone or he might get a corner out of it. So it is kind of frustrating in a way.
I absolutely agree with you, Mark. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm glad to see your optimism there, because I was looking at some of the tweets after the United game, and this one tweet stuck out. Your man said, after watching Dan James play football for 80 minutes, I'm raging I never took up being a professional footballer myself, because he makes it look so uneasy.
That was you said that, Dino.
just touching on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer coming out after the game saying he was deflated by the result. This is why don't hate him. But this is why I have a disliking to him. He seems to think that United just have a God-given right to beat any single team. Like Leeds are very, very good. They're doing that bollocks. They're shite. Leeds are a very, very good side. I thought they were unlucky not to have a penalty as well. And just touching on Fernandez, we said about 3.5 months ago that he's carrying that team and he's worn out and he's exhausted, and he still continuously plays them throughout the fatigue. Like you look at the continued playing of Mane, what it's doing to him in the Liverpool team, what it's doing to Bobby Firmino. It's not good for any player. Like if he plays every single game between now and the end of the season, there could be serious questions on him going to the Euros, because his form has just dipped dramatically. So I'd love to know what you think about that, lads.
To be honest with you, Dino, I think it's him. I think Bruno wants to play all the games. If you ever see him when he's dropped on the bench, he doesn't look happy, or if he's taken off, he wants to play every minute of every game. So don't really think it's about Solskjaer, to be honest with you. I think it is.
So Bruno. Is he bullying Solskjaer and telling him he's playing?
Well, I'm not in Aon training ground 7 days a week, so I don't know what's going on there. But that, from the outside looking in, I'd
imagine so, because Ferguson was seeing that fatigue, Ferguson, and say, look, mate, you're taking a break. I couldn't give a fuck about you want to play every week. You need a rest. End off. So it's obviously a case of he's afraid to piss him off. Whereas Donny van de Beek is after aging about 25 years and putting on about 6 stone since he signed for United. Like the buck stops with the manager. The player is obviously fatigued. He needs a rest.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. But it's like the Kane situation yesterday. If one of your top players is that fit to play, you have to trust them. You have to send them out there. You have to put your best starting 11 out against whatever team. And don't forget, we were up against one of the best managers out there in Bielsa yesterday. He knows how to, take points off the bigger. I know we bet them 6-2 in Old Trafford. Some might say it was, I wouldn't say a fluke, but it's one of those 1 in a million things. But I definitely think, like I said, Kane would have thrown himself in there yesterday. Obviously, Mason's an experienced manager in Solskjaer, but like I said, when I look at Bruno, he just wants to be out there every minute in every game, and that's like you said, it might have an impact in the Euros, but we just have to wait and see.
Dean, Saturday lunchtime. I don't think me or you could have been any more frustrated. Or Craig. Newcastle, Liverpool won, Newcastle won.
Gang of brazzers. Gang of spineless, windy, coward bastards. Every single one of them. I'm fed up with tiptoeing around and wrapping cotton wool around and people like if I hear someone saying about fucking injuries again, I swear to God, I'll set them up to be stabbed about 1,000 times because it's pissing me off now. When there's no hunger in the team, there's no passion, there's no desire, there's no killer instinct. Apparently, Klopp has these great set of managerial skills. Haven't seen them once this season. He can't motivate anybody. He continuously plays absolute shit. Gini Wijnaldum wants to go. He still plays him, but with Coutinho and all, it was like, if you don't want to be here, you don't play. You know what I mean? He obviously doesn't trust anyone else to go into that position. Thiago, don't get me fucking started on him. I've seen more pace from a bag of chips. It's just fucking backwards. Every single thing in that team is fucking backwards. Keep resorting back to the same thing. There's no one pushing these players to a different level. Even Jota's dropped his form recently. I know he's only come back from injury, but some of them efforts in front of goal the other day, Mickey had scored them. It's just I swear to God, there's no pressure on anyone in that team, so nobody gives a fiddler's. I wouldn't be surprised if half of them are thinking, don't get top 4, I can go. Like, I can push my way out the door here. Or if we're not going to get Champions League football, at least I don't want to play Europa League football. But I'm just sick of the excuses and the same shite every single week. It's like against Leeds, we only scored, let's be real, Mane nearly missed that and it was an open goal. A couple more inches to the right and it was hitting the post or it was going wide. What a goal from Salah. But it's like when we scored a goal, we're afraid to concede or we're afraid we're going to drop points. And it's just hold on for dear life. We'd 22 or 23 shots on goal. You get to a certain stage in the match where you're thinking to yourself, Newcastle are going to score here. And you know what the funny thing is? Even after the goal was disallowed, I said, these are still going to score. There's nothing in the team anymore. And then they come off the pitch with their heads down and they're shrugging their shoulders and everyone looks angry. And I'm like, wait, what are you walking off the pitch like that for, feeling sorry for yourselves? No one's coming out and apologising to the fans. Fair enough, we're missing Van Dijk and we're missing Jordan Henderson. But come on, there still should be enough in that team to beat Newcastle. I don't give a shit if they're fighting for their lives to stay up. There still should be enough in that team to beat any team without Jordan Henderson and Virgil van Dijk.
Yeah, we made Sam Maximan look like Pele there the other day. It was ridiculous. Craig, what was your feeling about it? Probably similar, I'd say.
Yeah, I think
Dean something similar to what I did, will you?
I think it is. No, to be honest, it is true what Dean is saying. It's sick of this fucking bullshit now. If we had Van Dijk playing, that doesn't mean nothing to the fucking forward line or scoring goals, does it? Absolutely not. The players have not got the responsibility, the desire, the hunger, the passion to get the job done. When we scored in 3 minutes, I thought we were going to go on a fucking rampage and more than because we actually broke a lower team down early on. So I knew Newcastle would have to come out and I said, lovely, this is going to play into our hands. What did we do? Fuck all. Afraid to shoot. Afraid to break into the box. Feel like we have to pass to another player for some reason all of a sudden that no one's like, I'll have a go. I'm up front. No, who's over there? Let's play it to them. Ben Davis, I think, is a fucking myth because why not play him and just throw Fabinho back into fucking centre midfield? So what? He's a fucking centre half. I think he's brought in purely for fucking sell-on value.
For numbers, just to fill up space on the bench.
Dean had a spot on the head. What the fuck is with Jota's finishing? I don't give a that's fucking embarrassing.
Even
No
his
pressure
tackle
on
was
the
bad.
ball. No pressure on the ball whatsoever. And the form that Jota has been in recently, bar Salah, has been the best of any of the front four, we'll say, with Firmino in there. I'll give Salah his due. It's another 20-goal season. Is that the only positive I could probably fucking say over anything? We don't get enough contribution from the midfield either. Never have. Not good enough. You look at, like, I know Bruno is obviously having a rough patch, but he still brings something to the table and he's still a threat.
Does
What do we
anyone
get?
think that? Does anyone think it's a case of they've probably resigned to not getting top four? The Euros is coming up, and some of them are just not giving everything, and they're just kind of afraid of injury and missing out on the Euros.
Yeah.
It's like you're playing for fucking Liverpool. You shouldn't need to be told about this, or you shouldn't need to be reminded about hard. You know, playing for Liverpool is enough to give you all of that and more. It's fucking Newcastle. No disrespect to any Newcastle fan, but it's Newcastle. You know what I mean? We gave them chances. Look at the Joe Linton fella. He was in one-on-one. It's like, fucking hell. Like, imagine Wilson had it started. Obviously not saying he would have scored, but he would have been fucking eating them chances up compared to Joe Linton. Say Maximum was coming in like fucking Messi dribbling by us. The whole right-hand side was fucking non-existent. Kabak was fucking chasing back for dear life, trying to recover everything. It's a fucking shambles. Like, it's not good enough. It's simple as you goal up against Leeds. What do? I think I'll bring James Milner on. What, with 22 minutes to go? Yeah, just to shore it up. Fuck off.
Yeah. Well, we've to bring it back and sort of bring things back a little bit more positive. I mean, we've an absolute festival of football this whole week.
Thank fuck.
You know, semi-final of the Champions League, 2 absolute tantalising ties, and also 2 really good ties in the Europa League.
Noel, sorry for coming across you.
Yep,
The only
go
other
ahead.
positive thing you can take is after that little Liverpool segment, you're after actually cheering Graham up, so fair play to you.
So it was announced today the 2 first entries into the Premier League Hall of Fame, the 2 first Slammy Awards. You know, Alan Shearer and Terry Henry. Mark,
Completely disagree with it. Ryan Giggs should have been in there.
His hands are tied, literally.
We'll come back to Ryan Giggs later on.
He's running down the B wing as we speak.
Not yet. And any contribution on this riot to Ryan Giggs is people's personal opinions, not the opinions shared by the Upper Tier podcast. Mark.
Yes.
Henry and Shearer, fitting, apt.
I think Shearer is. I'm not so fond of Henry for obvious cheating reasons. But there's so many other people you can look at. If you're putting Henry, why don't you put the Invincibles in as a team? Because no one has done what they have done, as well as Shearer. Because Shearer has to be in there, you know, all time top goal scorer. But there's some other names I looked at. You know, Gareth Barry played over 650 appearances in the Premier League. Won the Premier League with City. Obviously, Giggsy can't be in there. Even James Milner, players like that, you know what I mean? He's played in so many teams, Roy Keane, Rooney and stuff like that. But I definitely agree with Shearer. I'm not a fan of Henry. So I actually prefer Bergkamp over Henry. But like I said, the Invincibles I thought should have been put in as a team. You know, sort of like your NWO or whatever, down in, or your DX.
So you've never gotten over that Barthez goal, yeah? Anthony, what was your thinking?
Yeah, like the lads were saying, I agree with Shearer already. Obviously winning the league, still holding the highest goal scorer in the Premier League record. Like Mark was saying, the Invincibles, it's a good show with putting the whole team in. I like that. Yeah, I would. There's so many more names that you can name, but I wouldn't have maybe preferred to see Henry in there yet. You know what I mean? Maybe eventually, but Shearer definitely had to have been there with winning the league, like I was saying, and then the top goal scorer record for so long. You know,
it's very difficult when you're just starting out picking 2 as well, isn't it? Because like,
yeah,
you could literally put 100 in. Why? And what was your thinking on it?
Personally, I think the bit of United fans just don't give Henry his props. I think Henry deserves his place in the Hall of Fame. To be honest, so does Shearer. Definitely, Shearer definitely does. Henry lit the league up, man. The way he came with his flair and all that, he was different. I think I'm very apt for both of them. But like you were saying, maybe the whole Arsenal team would have been more fitting because that team was a team of invincibles. I was only having this conversation with my friend earlier today that the whole from Perez, Sol Campbell, Vieira, Ashley Coleman, Dennis Baker, that team was full of superstars that you loved watching play football as a football fan, and how they didn't start with an 11 anyways, like they could have just picked 11 players from teams, and started that way. I don't know why they just picked 2. But there's and like you said, there's hundreds you could put in. You have lots of modern Premier League heroes, like Vincent Kompany, David Silva, and that, and players like that. But I don't know. There's loads more players you can put in there ahead of.
I get Alan Shearer going in, like, you know what I mean? Like, he's the obvious standout. If you were anyone was to sit down and pick the very first player, I think everyone would probably come to Alan Shearer being the first one. You know what I mean? Like, it's record to themselves. But I thought the Henry thing is just a whole part of the Sky gang, and you know what I mean. Like, I agree with Wayne; he deserves to be in there, but just not yet. I was thinking about today, and I think they missed a trick with Gary Speed. He played every single one of the first 10 seasons of the Premier League. He played every single game. The legend of the game, sadly lost way too soon. But I think they missed a trick, and they could have put someone like that in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, good show. Yeah, good show. Let's move on. Football planning a total media blackout coming up pretty soon. So the social media platforms will take notice. Dean, what was your feeling on that?
It's not going to change, and they've done it before. I know they just done the 24-hour thing, and then I think there was a 48-man. Completely agree again with everything, but these social media companies aren't going to do anything to stop what's happening. Long after we're gone, this will still be happening. I completely agree. I love the fact that all the players and the football clubs and what have you have all come together and said, right, this is what we need to do. But as soon as that 4 days is up, it's just back to the square one again. It's never going to stop, Noel. You have too many of these keyboard warrior little fucking scroats that imagine going out of your way to set up a fake account just to call someone the N-word. Like, how pathetic, sad, and miserable do you have to be in your life to do this sort of thing? I say it to their face. Do you know what I'm saying? Ronnie Messon will never say it. I'd never say it. No, but just trying to make a light of it there. But this is, I completely agree with what they're doing. But as I said, as soon as this all finishes, it's just going to start again. This 4 day, there's people sitting out there now, probably in gangs of people, thinking, what do they think they're going to fucking stop us? Wait and you see when this lifts, we'll be sitting with the keyboard ready to give them abuse. That's just the society we live in today. So nothing's going to change.
And the problem is with social media has become such a fabric of our life and a fabric of sports life now in terms of communication. It's very hard to walk away from it or get rid of it. You hear Terry Henry close down his Twitter account and all, but like, if reports are true today in terms of what he might be getting involved in, surely that'll have to be reactivated and all. They need to get out there and sell this thing. Yeah. Mark, moving on to you. You're a big fan of music, so I'm sure you're a big fan of Spotify. News broke today that Mr. Spotify himself and a number of Arsenal legends want to come together to buy Arsenal. And my first thinking on this was change is normally good, but is one multi-billionaire less greedy than another multi-billionaire? And if he made all this money, apparently Spotify is worth something like $70 million or something like that. Do the Arsenal fans actually think that this man earned $70 million by not stepping on people's heads somewhere along the line? Mm-hmm. What was your thinking on this when it broke first?
Yeah, it's obviously he's been ruthless somewhere down the line to get where he is. On paper, it looks a great idea, especially when there's talk of the legends coming in. Because, like I was saying to you during the week, I'd love if the class of '92 came in, but obviously financially they can't. Even if, like I was saying it to my brother-in-laws there the weekend, they're big Arsenal fans. Even if it did go through, it's going to take a while for Kroenke to get out anyway. So I won't be kind of counting the chicken soup to him. I don't think he's going to sell. I don't think he's going to budge. Even I seen the protests outside the Emirates there during the week. There was thousands, like there probably was, outside Old Trafford and Anfield and all. But like you said, he's a businessman, so I don't know much about him, to be honest with you, to be commenting on him. But like I said, if he has the money, it's like your man that I was saying, Jim, during the week. He bought Nice. He's an old and born and bred big United fan. You'd love to see someone like him come in, but unfortunately, I can't see the Glazers sell him. Like I can't see Kroenke sell him as well. Even with the Arsenal legends that are meant to be on board as well, that we're looking at.
Graham, it seems at the moment that the new cool thing for the rich and famous is to own a football club, without fully comprehending what's involved and the culture and the history and the people and the local area and the ingrainment of it.
Yeah.
What you're thinking when you heard it? Obviously, being a Spurs fan, Arsenal would be your rivals. You'd have to be worried. He said he was going to potentially buy it for $2 billion, and he was going to invest another $1 billion in infrastructure and player signings. That would sound ominous to Spurs, wouldn't it?
Well, it'd be probably doom and gloom for us because it's not that though we don't want buyers. Nobody seems to be attracted to us to take over us because they know what our chairman is like. But this whole owning clubs things is, like they said with the whole ESL thing, they said, like, do these billionaires, they don't care about like club being like 100 years old, like what the fans have done, to make the club big, and just I bought a club for 100 million, and they don't care about the fans, don't care about anything. But it just seems to be the way things go. It all started back, with Chelsea with Ibrahimovic, and then Man City took over, and then the likes of Real Madrid and Barcelona had money. It's just the way things are gonna do. If fans like it or not, it's just the way things have. It's just either way of making more money, making easy money for people.
I'd love to know how much money was offered to Henry, Bergkamp, and Vieira, because that's just the most random thing ever. That this dude that owns Spotify just rocked up, and next of all, three legends, but it's like not like three English legends that played for Arsenal, like Vieira, Henry, and Bergkamp. How did they all come into the equation? They've obviously been plotting this for a while, but there had to be an incentive for them. He didn't just get their numbers and say, lads, making a bid for Arsenal, want you three to back me because everybody loves you three from being legends at the club and all. So I'd love to know how that came about. But Kroenke's not going to sell. Kroenke's too stubborn. If Kroenke had his way, football matches would be done over. There'd be 4 quarters to a game, halftime shows, cheerleaders. He has no interest in football whatsoever. Just touching on the owners of the ESL, the Big Six or whatever. Want to just touch on FSG as well. They've got. I have friends over in Liverpool that I was chatting with today, and they were saying that they turned down that massive bid to sell the club. If they don't invest like big time this summer, that the Spying Cop and the Spirit of Shankly are plotting their downfall for as soon as the fans go in. That they might think that the apologies are working, but there's going to be a major backlash if things don't go the way that everyone wants them to in the summer.
Yeah, it's certainly interesting at the moment, isn't it? Like, I mean, there's a lot of rich people out there at the moment going to make a play for some of these clubs as an opportunity. I'd imagine the 3 boys were put in there as a smoke screen to ease the transition 100%. Of sliding one billionaire out and moving another billionaire in.
He probably said to Henry, if you jump on board, I'll get you inducted into the Premier League Hall of Fame. That's how we did it.
and a free membership to Spotify Premium.
But Henry recently as well, didn't he tell, who was he managing, the Montreal, what was the name of them?
Montreal Impact.
Yeah, he told them he had to return to England for personal reasons. This was obviously the reason why, you know what I mean, to get behind this.
Oh, it was another Montreal screw job.
Like that. But what you're saying there about like the smoke screen and all, everyone knows how much the Arsenal fans hate Kroenke. This geezer is obviously like delved deep into like the hatred towards him. And if he'd came out today in his own Arsenal fans probably be like, oh, your man who owns Spotify, do we really want him? But the fact that he has the three legends behind him, Arsenal fans are very gullible. Let's be real, they're very, very gullible. They come across the most no offense to sports fans, but they come across as simple as sports fans, just living in the clouds.
Yeah, certainly interesting times. A Liverpool legend there came out yesterday, I think it was. Mr. One, Paul
Jimmy
Ince.
Triori.
No, Paul Ince. And he came out and he said that Steve Bruce or Mark Hughes would have done a better job than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Safe to say he's not going to be on Ollie's Christmas card list. Mark, what was you thinking on that?
He just wants to make headlines. That's all. Like, he's irrelevant now. He's not really on any TV program. Like Anthony will tell you as well, we have one of the best away records no one talks about. We're the second best in Premier League history, and no one, everyone's. I know Dean has said about Solskjaer and all. You must have something about you if you set a record like that. I don't think Bruce or Hughes would know what you seen what you seen what Hughes was like when he was at City.
No,
What did you exactly? Even when he went to Stoke City, he was brutal at Stoke City.
Yeah.
You look at it. Bruce has bounced from how many teams? Villa, Birmingham, Sunderland. You can name it. It's you know what I mean.
It's like Gail Lingard. He's learning on the job.
That's it.
Like, as much as I hate United, Mark, like what you're saying there about them records and all, like kudos to the team, for the best away record. But that's only relevant if you win a league. I'm not taking a dig at you there, but that would mean significantly more to fans and statisticians and Sky Sports if they won the league.
Yeah,
you can win your 19 away games from home and lose the league, and nobody's gonna remember that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Dino. And the other thing is, it's the finals. We haven't gotten to a final. We got into so many semi-finals. So that's the next step that he has to take. I know when he first came in, everyone said about the Cardiff job. He was only in the Cardiff job for 8 months, and they were already in the relegation zone. So he's already up against it as it was. So he came in. He was coaching the youth academy. He's United in his blood. So hopefully we can get to the final, and then people could probably take him a bit more serious if we win something. Then
see Europa League. If United win the Europa League, Liverpool finish 5th. Do Liverpool get Champions League football thanks to United?
No.
Okay, move on.
They changed that. They changed that a few years ago.
Yeah.
They changed it when we won the Champions League and Everton missed out.
You imagine it'd be like England winning the '66 World Cup. I'd be 95 talking to my great grandkids, and I'd still hear United fans saying, "Do you remember back in 2021 where we won the Europa League and you finished 5th and he's got Champions League thanks to us?"
Well, Dino, you need to cover all grounds. You should be like Craig wearing a PSG and a Barcelona top.
Never.
Well, sure, United wouldn't have a problem doing us a favour. Sure, we're all part of the Big Six now, aren't we? All pals and all now, no?
We have each other's back.
Brothers and ours,
We were dragged
as soon as those Chelsea fans started singing and dancing outside Stamford Bridge, we all went back to hating each other. So it was nice while it lasted, but I hate us all.
It's gas the stories that have come out in the last week, isn't it? From the likes of City and Chelsea going, "Oh, we were kind of dragged along," that kind of way. Like the two richest people involved in the Big Six, we were dragged kicking and screaming because the other four said they were going to do it. So we had to follow Spurs.
Yeah,
true. We didn't want to get left behind.
Did you see the WhatsApp joke where everyone's texting each other and loads of them start leaving? At the end, it's just sports fans, lads. I'm joining. There's everyone, lads.
Graham got the wrong memo. He was outside Richmond Park the other night protesting.
Support your local.
He was outside Richmond Park selling the Spurs key rings.
Support your local. Your bedroom window looks out on the Shamrock Rovers. What are you talking about? Support your local.
Rovers aren't Halle. I'm not going to Aurora.
Anyway, let's move on. This 50+1 rule, Anthony. I can't see this happening at all. I mean, the Premier League got a bit of a kick up the backside the other day when they realised that like most of these clubs aren't even English.
Yeah,
they're all registered in the Cayman Islands and the Turks and Caicos Islands and places.
Yeah.
And they're going, oh, so we can't enforce this from a legal point of view. And they all started backtracking. What was your thinking on it?
Yeah, like you said at the very start of that, Noel, and it's basically near enough the only thing you say. It's not going to happen. You know what I mean? It will not happen. It shouldn't. You know what I mean? It shouldn't. It just shouldn't happen. I think is Bayern Munich run that way? Are they? Is that the way they run? Or
Yeah,
All German.
and Dortmund as well.
Yeah. No, just I can't see it happening. To be honest, I really can't.
I just find it weird that if I was, let's suppose I owned 49% of a club, I'd find it very weird going into a meeting to set out a plan with a fan representation to go, right, this is our plan for the summer. I don't know how it would ever arrive on agreement. I suppose it's different for Dortmund and, because they're always the bridesmaid to Bayern Munich, more or less. And Bayern Munich, because they win so much, like they literally have a treble in the bag nearly every season, stuff like that. There's no reason for the fans to create waves. So they just let the club get on with being managed. So the 50+1 rule is there, but in reality, is it really, really active, or do they they have the faith in the club doing what it should do because it has served them well over years, Mark, 50+1.
Yeah, in theory, it's a great idea and everyone would want it, but it's never going to happen. Never going to happen. Remember a few years ago, now this isn't a joke or anything, Monaghan had something like that. And then Roddy Collins came in and bled the club dry.
Yeah.
And they do you remember that, Graham?
Yeah.
They had to disband them. But I said, in theory, it's a great idea, but I can never see it happen in the Premier League. Never.
Yeah. Wayne, what you're thinking on it? Because I mean, the old saying goes that the inmate should never run the asylum.
And I mean, at the same time, it's not even to do with ownership. It's just a board decisions, isn't it? It's just a board level decisions I made at a rate of 50+1, to investors and stakeholders. I don't know. I think Germany proves it works, but I think it would, for a club like mine, anyways. Why would the Arabs want to go with like the Sheikh and all that, come and drop all his money in when he's not making decisions on what's happening, So I think
it's a great idea, and here's why. Now, just to make live the situation, just imagine this happened, right? So each club is 50+1, right? Which means only one fan can be part of the board. So that means each club has to go out and find the most mental lunatic that supports their club. An absolute, like the monk out of Mean Machine meets Brian Pillman from wrestling, and he just sitting there at the board every day, like rocking back. That's the only way I want to see that happening. It's not going. It's a daydream. It's always been that way in Germany. They're well on top of things there, and that's why it's a success.
And C would have it easy because they only have the one fan, and he's on this show tonight. So
yeah. Well, I mean, we did 51. We get that.
But be like that. Remember your man Dino that won the raffle to be manager of Harchester United.
But can you just imagine, like, you're sitting around the boardroom and you're getting ready to put your transfer plan together, and in walks the fan representation. Can you imagine?
Dino walks into FSB.
Just walking in, just like touching everything and all, and walk. Now everyone's sitting there and they're like, so lads, no, what do you mean summer transfers? I want to talk about the lunch menu here. I come here for matches. This is what I want on my sandwiches. I want chips, fish and chips,
spice bag.
I want the vinegar out of the Irish chippers and batch loaf bread. So now we can talk about transfers.
I can imagine if that meeting was held right after the Newcastle game and you're kicking the door in going, right, that front four have to go.
No, you know what? Did you see the messages that I'd be walking in after bad performances and be like, John, be like, yeah, Dean, right, here's what's going to happen. I'm not happy. I'm going to cause absolute chaos in this club because I'm that +1. can I have a pair of Linda's knickers or something?
Oh my God. Good Lord.
That sounds like Dino at +1 at a
No,
wedding. Never
why
mind the football.
you're making me out to
Wedding
be this
birthdays.
blatant head case. I'm actually quite a somber guy.
Okay. Moving on. Swiftly from that. So 50 plus 1, we don't think really it's going to work. And we can't see legally how it would be true. Mark, Anthony, quick one for you guys. Harry Kane, based on what you're saying, should United be moving for him?
Nope. Nope. No, not with those ankles. No, not a chance.
Yeah.
No way.
I
No,
totally agree.
And God knows how much he'll want. You know what I mean? How much have we got for wages? The transfer fee, we're basically paying for his hospital bed. You know what I mean? Not worth it. No way. No, thank you.
Isn't it mad how prolific he is and nobody wants him?
Yep.
No.
I completely agree. Because it's same
It's
thing
it's
to me the other
madness.
day,
He's
wasn't
one
it?
of the best strikers to ever play the game, and nobody wants him. It's absolute madness.
Agreed, Dean. Yeah, agreed.
Definitely.
Well, I said that last week when you asked me would I want to Man City. And no,
Nobody listens to Man City fans because they know nothing about football.
leave me and me mate George alone, man. It's only us two. Yeah, so leave us alone.
Well, I was expecting you to come on tonight with your big NHS badge on you and everything. And I was at the game yesterday. Yeah, no, it's kind of it's shocking, really, like, you know, because most places he's held in such high regard, but yet it doesn't seem like, as we said last week on the show, we think it's just a way of, you know, bumping his contract, maybe, that he has no intentions really of leaving Spurs. News broke there this morning, again, probably for the two boys, that Chelsea have moved ahead of United in the pecking order to sign Varane, which probably sounds true based on the information that came out this evening that Eric Boy is getting a new 4-year contract. What was your thinking on that?
Go ahead,
Can I go,
Anthony.
Mark?
No, you go ahead.
They probably knew that beforehand, so they kind of maybe rushed to get Boy's contract signed up and all that stuff. I can definitely see Varane going to the blue side of Chelsea rather than United. Just with the way it all happened. Did it happen quickly? Maybe not. Maybe it did. He's definitely he's not coming to United anyway. With Boy signing that contract, he's not coming here.
Is that concrete, Noel? Like, there's a genuine interest or there's a bid being made? Because I don't see him leaving Real Madrid. If they win the Champions League, I can't see him leaving.
Yeah,
Well,
I think he's kind of holding out at the moment, but you know, negotiations have stalled, so he is kind of also weighing up his options of a new home, if you like, you know.
And he's been there 10 years. He's won everything. He probably does want to move on as well. Try somewhere else out.
Yeah, and he's probably assuming as well that Ramos is probably going to stay, isn't he? They're hardly going to let Ramos go out the door.
That's a big mistake by Real Madrid.
Yeah.
Why does Ramos 34, 35?
Yeah.
He's class and all, but come on, like he's getting over the hill now. What's the point in signing that your man Alaba, who's 28? You know, he's got a good, probably 5 or 6 good years left in him, and he is class on his day. But surely you want to be fighting tooth and nail. Just tell Ramos, look, you have to go, mate. Surely you have to fight tooth and nail to keep Varane, like, and build something with Varane and Alaba at the back, because he can play centre half, he can play left back, he can play right back, he can play as central defensive midfielder. Like, just fucking madness from Real Madrid if they're not fighting tooth and nail to keep him.
Yeah, true. Let's have a quick look at the Champions League. Obviously, 2 big fixtures coming up. Wayne, PSG versus City. What you thinking?
Yeah,
honest.
Yeah, well, away in Paris, I think just nicking away goal. We expect to dominate possession, but against PSG, they play a similar kind of way to us. So it's hard to really tell. But you know what? After the season we've had, I'm confident in the team. I like they'll go out and do what they can. As long as we start like strong players. I mean, Aguero, Bernardo, Gundogan, Foden. You know, I mean, that's all we can do. But I'm feeling quietly confident. And hopefully, I think we'll get 1-0 away. Hopefully.
Wayne, I actually think I watched the semi-final preview today, and I picked up on a couple of things that Craig said. Neymar and his antics on the rolling around. I think that'll play into man. I think City will get frustrated, and I think PSG might nick it out because of that. I don't know.
Appreciate it, but I mean, I think City having the ball so much, if anything, I think it'll frustrate PSG playing against a team like that. They used to fucking just having the ball and doing what they want week in, week out, my friend. You know, but I will say this. Do you know what? They're probably the two most similar teams, City and PSG, because like City, PSG aren't unbeatable. You know, they've been beaten this season since January, I think 3 times in the league by much lesser opponents. City have as well. We lost to like United. Can't believe that. Lost to Leeds as well. But you know, losing to much lesser opponents seems to be what both of them do.
I think that PSG's 2 best performances were against Munich, and they haven't got that in that tank. As much as I don't want Man City to win, as much as I don't want City to win the Champions League, I just think they'll have too much. They're on a roll now. I know they lost against Leeds, but the buzz in that team, you know, you could see when Foden scored that goal against Dortmund, you could see what it meant to the team, and I don't think that PSG have it in them to put into performances like they did against Munich. City are on form, like it's as much as I seen it. Like I did think when they get going, they're just fucking frightening.
Yeah. Like I do think if anything, a team like PSG is Man City's biggest worry. Like when you've got Neymar and Mbappe running at your defenders, which City have clearly shown, you want to get at us, you need to run at us. And with Neymar and Mbappe doing that, it's not like bloody, you know, Spurs doing it here. You know what I mean? It's a big step up. So, and especially like I'm not, no jokes aside. My Chelsea mate said to me yesterday after the game, he went, "Oh, delighted with that." He said, because he said if we meet you in the final, he reckons they do us over again. You know.
See with Mbappe will never. He is a very good player, but he's going to be always outside the top 5 best players in the world for me, because he's playing in such a shit league. The French league is like the Scottish league. If he wants to be going out and putting in the 2 best performances of his life to put himself in the window for someone to come out and pay the money that's expected to be paid to buy him, that the only way I see PSG winning is if one or 2 things. Man City, the whole thing of being in the Champions League semi-final, the pressure gets too much for them, or you have the likes of Neymar and Mbappe and Di Maria go out and have like the games of their life, and especially Mbappe going out. He wants to sign for Real Madrid. That's his dream move, apparently. Go out and prove why you should be signing for one of the best clubs in the world, because too often and not like that league, you can't rate yourself as a player playing in that league. It's absolutely atrocious. It's like the League of Ireland.
Yeah, I'm just looking at PSG this year, and I see a different togetherness with them. And I see players there that seem like they're on a mission. I know Lewandowski was missing for Bayern Munich for the 2 games, but they were unbelievable against Bayern in those 2 legs. You know what I mean? There was a real togetherness with them, and they were fighting for each other, which is something I've never seen in a PSG side. It's normally a bunch of sort of superstars individually playing, but this year they seem to have wrapped their head around it. It's like they're hurting from last year's final and they want to make amends, and they look like they're singly focused on a mission this year, you know? So it'll be interesting to see how that one goes. Real Madrid, Chelsea. Another tantalising one. Tuchel versus Zidane. Mark, going to be a great game.
Oh, definitely. And just for the benefit of those at home, this is actually a United jersey, not a Chelsea jersey. All right.
You thought you were going to do the 5-second pause.
Mark, you're not supposed to tell anyone that. That's why I went here for the Chelsea game.
I think Chelsea are going to get a score draw there tomorrow, and I think they're going to win at the bridge, and they're going to go through. I think they'll have enough to beat them over the 2 legs. It'd be the first proper, competition of a match for Real Madrid in this season's competition, because they haven't gotten any so far. No, I think the likes of, I know we wouldn't have been saying this a few years ago, but the likes of Mason Mount and all will be too much for them over the two legs. So I'm going 1-1 tomorrow, and I think they'll win at the Bridge.
You thinking the same, Anthony, even with Varane and Ramos coming back and players like that?
Yeah, it was always going to be a kind of a draw match that you would kind of predict. You know what I mean? It's again mouth-watering match like City and PSG. I think I'd rather watch Chelsea and Madrid over City and PSG. Not any disrespect to just because it's City or anything. No, none of that. Just I think it would be a better try. It'd be closer than the City and PSG match in the result way. Can't wait. Gonna love it.
How ironic would it be though if Hazard was to like play a big part and just absolutely run amok and knock them out? Having had such a bad time since he went to Real Madrid, wouldn't it be nice for him to just come on and just rip them to shreds? But I agree with Mark. They're just since Tuchel have come in, they've just been absolutely. They've took it to another level. It's like they were stuck in first or second gear under Lampard and just needed someone to come in with a bit of tactical nous, kick on these good players that he has. But just think that defensively they'll be solid, and the likes of Mason Mount. I have a feeling Havertz is going to be the standout man in the two games. So I think he's going to step up to the plate.
It's an absolute madness to think that Tuchel could take over that team and within 5 months potentially win the Champions League, isn't it?
They just need a manager. They needed a manager like with a bit of tactical nous. You know what I mean? Yeah. He won trophies with PSG and he was a nearly man in the Champions League. But Lampard didn't have that experience. You know what I mean? You're going from managing Derby. Yeah, they were at the highs of the championship, and and they nearly got they nearly got promoted and what have you. But like, it doesn't compare to European pedigree. You know what I mean? Tuchel has rubbed shoulders with some of the best managers in the world. He's learned off them. Managing in the championship compared to managing on the main stage in the Champions League, it's two different levels.
Yeah.
The players that Chelsea had were only brought in. It wasn't. They all talked about this project Lampard had. It wasn't the project Lampard had. It was the money Chelsea had. Simple as. Because look at, as soon as things started going pear-shaped, it was off you go, Frank. No one cares that you're the club legend. Hasn't been heard of since. And I'm not surprised that this has happened because Tuchel, as I said, the tactical nous, the know-how, he knows how to get the best out. He's worked with some of the best players in the world. So Chelsea just needed that. Them players just needed a kick in the arse. And I think next season we'll see a different, they'll take it to another level again. But I do think that they'll knock Real Madrid out. And it's a bit mouth-watering, a one-off game where if City get through Chelsea and City in a Champions League final, it's just, it is very, very mouth-watering, and I can see that being the final. As much as I don't want it to be, but I can see that being the final.
Definitely.
Be horrible to be on the losing side of that, wouldn't it? Whatever about getting beaten by European competition, but to be getting beaten by Premier League competition at that level is just, can't imagine it. Europa League, we're going to be doing a preview tomorrow, myself and Mark, on the Europa League. But Mark, thoughts going in? I mean, obviously United, poor performance, Arsenal, poor performance going into both these ties, which are absolutely huge for Ole and Arteta. Roma, dogged type of side.
They were beaten 3-2 yesterday by a team just outside the relegation zone. So, and I looked at their starting 11. They had enough players in there to win the game. They did drop a few players, all right, probably thinking ahead for Thursday. But yeah, we'll talk about that tomorrow. But yeah, Unai Emery against his old club on Thursday night. It's going to be tough because I think he's a really good manager, especially in the Europa League. He knows it like the back of his hand. So it'll be interesting. And like I said, because my in-laws are Arsenal fans, I hope Villarreal win.
Yeah. Wayne will be breaking out the Jacko jersey, won't you, Wayne? Absolutely. Anthony, what you thinking on it?
Yeah. Like, lads, look, we know Leeds are a good side, don't we? We know they're going to pressure off the Bladen Park. Roma are always there and thereabouts in Serie A. You know what I mean? Albeit it's not the best league, but the Smalling coming back to United as well to play them. You know what I mean? It's going to be a good match. It'd be tough. It's going to be really tough. A lot tougher than Granada. No disrespect to Granada, but it's a harder match than those. Be good to watch though.
Graham,
Roma have a couple of players coming back from injury as well. El Shaarawy and Pastore are back as well. I'm seeing the highlights of the game yesterday, Mark. But, you know, you look at Zeko was on the bench, Shaarawy.
Mkhitaryan was on the bench.
Mkhitaryan, yeah.
Pastore, Verito. It's gonna be two teams. Roma play attacking football. It's gonna be toe to toe. For United's sake, I think it'll be a case of will Bruno kind of, he's, as you said earlier, Mark, he's not really being himself probably for about 5 or 6, probably more games. Like if he does show up and he controls the game, I can see United winning over the 2 legs. That's gonna be a cracking game because Roma, we seen when we played them in the second leg in the Champions League semi-final, they just go fucking toe to toe to you. When the pressure's on them, they don't back down at all.
Yeah, I'm not even going to go near a score prediction because it always goes tits up, lads. You know what I mean?
Well, Graham,
Wayne, just give us a score prediction there for the 2 City games, will you, please? Just tell me that City are going to win both legs, will you, please?
I'm saying nothing.
Well, Graham, you've had such a bad weekend. We're going to leave the last word to you. Arsenal versus Villarreal.
Say it.
What can I say? I'm not really fond of the Spanish league. I don't really know what players Villarreal have, but knowing that Arsenal, the squads are on paper, they are strong enough if they can turn it on. But if it's one of them off days that they've had, I think they will score, but if depending on the defense, David Luiz, he has his odd game, he has his odd good games. It's just depending on which Arsenal team could turn up. Graham, give it to me here. Villarreal 4-0. Come on, you're a Spurs fan.
I was waiting for him to say it.
It's like you were talking up an Arsenal win there.
Yeah, what's the
he has a red jersey on there with the white sleeves, like an Arsenal jersey as well. So
but it's not Arsenal. That's
Velcro Arsenal.
Yeah. Look. We've cheered him up. Look,
we got a smile out of him. That's amazing.
Dreamcast on Spotify on the jersey next week. There's a shadow over them.
Are we not going to talk about Ryan Giggs?
We're going to touch on the fact that he's being charged, but we're waiting to hear how that's going to pan out. We're not
Ryan Giggs.
Well, as always, lads, it's been a pleasure. Head over to YouTube, smash that subscribe bell notification button. Dynamo Podcast Network, also on Anchor for the audio versions of our show. Lads, an absolute pleasure as always on the Monday, even getting you all on.
Cheers,
Thanks, mate.
Chat to you all again soon, boys.
See you later,
Cheers.
Fair play, lads.